There we go.
Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all. This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
All right, we're going to dive right in because we're reviewing X-Men Dark Phoenix with our friends, and you know how this is going to end. I mean, I kept saying it offline, but this movie was a literal train wreck. Not spoil the ending, but
and almost in space. Kind of familiar territory, no?
Capes and Lunatics 108. Okay, Lilith, starts right now. No, 108, 108. Was that good, Lilith?
You're so petty. I love it.
Oh, I'm a petty little bitch. Anyway, Capes and Lunatics. Dark Phoenix. I am Bill. Joining me as always. New Jersey's favorite drunk.
It's Charlie, the Professor Esser. And you know what the best part of this film was?
What?
Gourmet Spider-Man popcorn.
Nice.
An AMC original.
All right, and our other regular, Florida woman herself.
Hey, y'all, let's look.
And we have our special guest. Not one, but two hosts of Fighters the Walking Dead podcast.
The most basic podcast ever.
What, Diane?
Hey, everybody.
And her sister's little drunk.
Hey, it's the other half of the Real Housewives.
Hey.
Who wants to unload first?
Okay, hold on. I just have to say this. I just have to get this unpopular opinion out of my mouth, or though it's pretty popular at this point. Everybody's mad that they're redoing Dark Phoenix, right? So I'm like, but it's supposed to be an apology for the original Dark Phoenix, but you have the same guy that wrote Dark Phoenix directing. Like, what?
It had the exact same problems.
Exactly.
And actually, I'm going to go you one better. The original Dark Phoenix was better than that because it was technically, I believe, spread over 2 movies, wasn't it?
I'm going to agree with you. I liked Last Stand way better.
Technically, but I think they pulled a Game of Thrones and forgot that she actually had the Dark Phoenix powers in Apocalypse. Is it just
Yeah. So actually,
in the last movie, they had the Phoenix Force like show up at the end. It's like, well, if it didn't enter her until this movie, what the hell was that?
Okay, and also since this is like the darkest timeline, I guess, because time doesn't work because nobody's aged since the First Class, the Days of Future Past. Nobody's aged. They should be in their 50s.
Well, I saw that. They were like, shouldn't Magneto be in his 60s? Does he look?
Yeah, him and Charles should be way older. Mystique should be way older.
Well,
so they've stopped aging.
Well, she's a shapeshifter. I can buy that. You could just
a shapeshifter that can't shift her organs.
I had that same thought.
Okay,
yeah.
So that was my biggest rant about the movies. Is I was like, that can't kill Mystique because Logan put his claws through Mystique in one of the first movies, and she was just fine. So I'm like, I didn't think penetrating wounds could kill her. I think I had to like behead her or something.
They made sure to, because this movie happened way before the deal was even in play. So Jennifer Lawrence was done playing Mystique.
Right.
She graced her presence in Apocalypse and was like, okay, I wanted to die, but then they like threw more money at her. She's okay, seriously, dude, last one. So that's why they killed Mystique.
So I have to ask, because it's been so long since I've read the source material. It's been over 30 years. Did Mystique get killed off in the original Dark Phoenix storyline?
No.
I don't remember that at all.
She just goes away for a while, then
Yeah, well, no one in comics really dies,
Right. Except for Uncle Ben, which I say he's really Mephisto, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. What I will say, honestly, aside from that, which was just, here's what I'll say. They kind of cover it if you want to just say new shapeshifter rules. Because we have similar shapeshifters who, if you give them enough damage quickly enough, they can't recover from it because what are the Dabari?
Dabari.
The Dabari.
They're aliens.
You know, if they got shot with a heavy caliber machine gun enough times, they would die because they couldn't fix it fast enough. But I don't think that really works with Mystique because, first off, she's still alive because she's lingering there for a few minutes, which is like, okay, let me just move my heart up a bit. Let me separate the lungs. Okay, whoo, that was close, huh, Beastie? What if
Yeah.
I actually died from that? I mean, caught me off guard, but
Like we said, maybe she's just old.
yeah.
I just think that they should have done it another way. They should have, like, I don't know, bisected or like exploded her head or something. Like, I just
Just let her live. It's the last one. No one's asking you back.
Yeah, she should have ran off. The last of the first class should have went off together. Like that is the
Yeah.
one ship that I ship. I'm like, yes, blue people, go away and be happy. Please.
By the way, can I just
Take
real
Nightcrawler with you. We know he's secretly your son in some sick, twisted way that we haven't figured out yet.
Yes,
I can't even. I'm gonna have to rant about Nightcrawler when we get into this. So
No. Quicksilver, he just disappears halfway through the movie. Like the best thing about
that's
the
what I
movie.
said, but Charlie saw something. Because I
Yeah,
did
they do have him. He's got like a neck brace because he like hits the ground and rolls when she does that whole Superman and the Flash thing where he's like, I see you even though you're moving super fast, and then like knocks him down.
At least he knows how to dodge a bullet. Sorry, other Quicksilver.
Oh yeah, I'm not. No one's arguing. And it wasn't that he couldn't dodge the bullet; it's that he put himself intentionally in front of the bullets because that was the only thing he had to save Hawkeye's life.
because God forbid we deal with him being Magneto's son in the last movie.
Yeah, well,
They
you didn't do it in the
tried
last
to.
one. Why would you do it here? You know, it's honestly, there's been nothing. It is so hard to find something. This is like if DC made Marvel movies.
I mean, it is Fox.
yeah.
It's the Fox Studios.
I know, but it just goes to show you it has nothing to do with the source material. It's really just, you know, what is the studio deciding to do? And
because the original X-Men movies were really
recut,
good.
edit, reshoot. Sounds kind of like Batman v Superman.
but it's like someone like there's been all this. Oh, you know, they had plans for this big epic Fantastic Four X-Men crossover. It's like, yeah,
He had so much time to do that.
Well, honestly, they had more than enough time to always do that.
They had 20 years. You had your time.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to remember X-Men came out about the time. What was it? It actually came out before. It actually came out before Raimi's Spider-Man, didn't it?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, this was the first. This was the first franchise. It was like, superhero movies could make money.
Yeah,
and they did nothing with it. You know,
they ultimately ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who was a huge X-Men fan way back in the day, like back over 30 years ago, this is a very disappointing climax to this franchise.
That's everybody's consensus, and I have to wholeheartedly agree with it. I did find like all the Easter eggs pretty cool, just the execution was crap. I was like, you picked the new mutant costumes, This is what you want to be comic book accurate about?
Yeah, because even at the end of Apocalypse, I mean, they were kind of wearing like closer to what their individual uniforms look like, and then didn't go with that for this movie.
Yeah, they went with the new mutant look, and I'm just like, I'm gonna kill you.
Here's my biggest problem with this film. We open up with an X phone in the president's office. People cheering as they're returning. Yeah, you saved the shuttle, people. You're awesome. We love X-Men.
Fantastic Four. Stop it.
Yeah.
Professor X.
Well, yeah, but then
right down to police headquarters.
Then one mutant like smashes a cop car, which again, are we saying that no mutant has smashed a cop car? Not for nothing. Humans smash cop cars all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure Lil sees out where she lives every day.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one Florida mutant out there.
It is mostly swamp.
We do it in Michigan too. Who has smashed a cop car prior to this moment? Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think mutants are always kind of the undercover other, you know. So
yeah, but then you got to transition that. I
They
mean,
just
it would be
wanted
like,
for the shot for the person with the sign in the back, X-Men Forever. And I'm like, why are you reminding me of all the worst stuff that I hate about X-Men?
I mean,
I know we all love Chris Claremont, but God, stop kissing his butt. Your nose is super brown. Just take a break.
I'm guessing if you want to argue some deeper political meaning, that they're trying to highlight the idea that, America went from Obama to Donald Trump so quickly. What happened? But if you watched CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News, you knew that wasn't quick. That was like this whole unfolding process of that entire event. And we get none of that here.
well, that's the
Well,
heart of these movies.
We go from 1975 to 1992. We're not quite there yet. It was like, 1992. You tried so hard to be likable, didn't you? Tried to give us a little from the TV show, the whole thing, and it's just like this nostalgia ride is not a good one.
Well,
I'm sorry.
The mutants have always been supposed to be like the analogy for showing racism and stuff. But yeah, this movie it turned in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's because not for nothing. If they could have done you could have fixed this all with a J. Jonah Jameson kind of character, or just you have a cable news anti-mutant guy,
kind of an inflammatory.
Yeah, everyone's darling, Jean Grey, who, for what it's worth, was up until this moment everyone's darling, is going crazy with her crazy mutant power.
Yes,
or she can't control it. Like they're dangerous because they can't control their powers.
Yeah, but
Lock her up.
yes, but do you think this movie would actually take the chance of someone thinking, hey, yeah, Fox News is bad? This Fox-made movie, do you think they'd really?
The Simpsons do it. The Simpsons do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, they wrote that into their contract.
Well,
So
they're immortal, so yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, it wouldn't have been that hard to have, as you've said, Phil, this isn't that long of a superhero film.
No, it was under 2 hours.
it's 114 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, 154. Yeah.
I do have a couple of positives, just so we don't lose sight that there actually was some good stuff in this movie.
I actually have a
Somebody finally called Professor X out on his crap. Yay.
So I really so that was one of the things that I really loved, was that Charles Xavier was so conflicted and
He
so
did the
screwed up.
wrong thing for
Yes.
the right reasons. Yeah.
But my favorite part of this whole movie was Michael Fassbender as Magneto. He really brought a lot to this movie. I felt like he was really the best part of the movie. He made the character likable. He kept him from being a cardboard cutout of a supervillain. I really like him.
Back. I just want Patrick Stewart back. That's
Yeah,
all I want.
that is true. Although I do think for this movie, Magneto was the saving grace.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, like we said, like chronologically, Logan is still the last X-Men movie.
Yeah.
So we can always say, well, no, X-Men was the last one, or Logan was the last one. So that's how the whole series ends.
And they're still trying to figure out where to drop New Mutants.
I was just going to say,
Halloween.
the reading that I have done is that MCU Disney is going to try to reboot the X-Men somehow. Have you guys heard anything about that? Do
They
you know
have
what
to
they're going to
release
do?
New Mutants before that, and then there's going to be like supposedly a 2 to 3 year cooling off point. They really want to focus on Fantastic Four because, God, I mean, at least X-Men have had like 2 or 3 good movies.
Right.
There's never been a good Fantastic Four movie, and
Amen
they are
to
really
that.
like the first family of Marvel, and they need to put some respect on that name real quick. So,
Yeah. The one thing I really loved about it, and this was actually the one thing that almost saved the movie for me, is in the bar, there's a person who looks exactly like a comic, except he's not smoking, because you can't smoke in movies nowadays.
unless you're a villain.
Guy,
You can't, I don't think.
yeah, no, you're not allowed to smoke anymore. Not even Wolverine can smoke in the movies, I don't think. There's a guy who looks exactly like Weingarten in there, and it turns out that that's Jean Grey. But it's a very comic book accurate design for Weingarten. And I was like, oh, Weingarten. At first I thought, it's going to be Weingarten. They actually are going to put him in here. But no, it's just Jean Grey doing the Weingarten thing, casting the glamour on people, making herself look like this old, decrepit mutant with the big floppy hat. So, to me, and that was great for me. Everything else kind of just uphill after that.
Wow.
That's sad. That has the. I mean,
That was the one good moment.
Yeah.
That was one good.
And Wine Garden, isn't that where Marnell lives?
No. The aliens, I did not think helped the story at all.
At all.
Okay,
It was
help me
extra
understand that.
confusion.
They were
I just
I couldn't do scrolls.
I felt like
had
they
to do this.
completely screwed up the Emma Frost storyline.
that was with Emma Frost. It was just some alien
That was Vuck.
in the
Buck, yeah.
storyline. They're the aliens that the
They're supposed to be. I thought we were gonna do Shi'ar Empire finally, and I'm just like,
I don't
oh.
know. Well, that's what I said. You could have did a shout out where the aliens just came to Earth, make them kind of sympathetic. Be like, okay, the Phoenix destroyed our planet, so we're here to destroy the Phoenix, and the only way it's vulnerable is in a human host. So we got to kill Jean Grey too. Instead, it's just like, oh no, we're going to take the power and conquer the Earth. It's like,
So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that where this movie fell down is it got a late release, and so it came after Endgame and it came after Captain Marvel, and that's why they had to do a lot of the reshoots, is it was too similar to Captain Marvel. And I heard that that's why they changed the aliens too. I don't know if anybody else
That's
heard
what
that.
I'm
Yeah,
saying. I don't believe
I
it.
heard something similar to that.
I didn't,
Any
even,
excuse is better than none at this point.
I didn't even care who the villains were, but they just made them.
It's too. It was too many of them. That's another thing that comic books have been suffering from. It's like focus.
They were just too generic,
Yeah.
and that
And you don't
and
need it.
female like her, yeah, and her what was her name?
Okay, seriously, Jessica Chastain signing up for a Fox Marvel movie. She needs to fire her agent. It was 2019.
I don't even know what the character's name was.
It was
I don't
Buck.
think she had a name.
Buck,
Buck.
something like that.
Not to be confused with Scott Buck.
No.
And God forbid their movie was similar to Captain Marvel or something that made a boatload of money. You know,
Right?
There
was
can
reading
only be
today
one
that-
strong female, and I'm sorry, it had to be Captain Marvel. That's
Okay,
just how it is.
Worst
don't
line ever. Worst line ever. You have to make it the ex-women because the women are always in control.
Yeah. Hashtag feminism.
Ah! That just
Yeah.
felt like pandering.
Yeah.
maybe
I
I
agree.
felt like hashtag feminism.
Right.
They were.
ad lib by Jennifer Lawrence. Who knows?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know,
I mean, it's true, but the execution was terrible.
you could have called it the X people, and then it doesn't sound as
Yeah.
you know. Although I did like her saying to Beast later, you know, what do you think the X in X-Men stands for? You know, and this is all just this little self-aggrandizement for Charles. Honestly, I'm surprised they weren't worried that this seems too similar to Doom Patrol. You know, which obviously it is technically, but you know, guy in the wheelchair manipulating all the people, and you know,
Yeah, but it's always
has to come to terms with the fact that he's hurt people for what he saw as the greater good.
Okay, no, my favorite thing is that we spent a lot of time in Red Hook because that is a Marvel thing to do.
Well,
At least they got that right.
yes.
that scum that hive of scum and villainy.
Although I gotta say again, why are they changing Jean Grey's origin after we already established Jean Grey's origin?
Because it's
Because
a new
Nobody,
timeline.
nobody cared. Nobody was paying attention.
But no, I mean, we established the idea that the trauma she suffered was being in her friend's body as she died after she got hit by a car. And then first of all, we don't even get, I'm in my mom's mind as she's dying and I'm feeling my mom dying, which I would go, oh, okay, that's a neat take on it. And she feels that fault. Great. Do none of that. Just her dad's mad because, you know, the kid was screaming in the back seat and they got into a car accident. If you're a parent who's blaming your kid for screaming in the back seat that caused a car accident, you're probably a bad
Well,
parent.
no. Well, later. I mean, yeah, he shouldn't
This
have.
also wasn't too far removed from the time when guys would just commit their wives to insane asylums and leave the family. I'm just saying, they're not too
It
far
was
removed
only
from that.
1975.
I mean, it was still an overreaction, but
They
no.
were still doing that in the 60s.
When he said, "Look, go ahead, go," and if you're gonna look all the way, and when she went in his head, when her mom was saying something to her, I think Jean turned like she put her mom to sleep. That's what caused the accident.
Right.
Her
Well,
mom-
yeah, no, I know that's technically what caused the accident.
But yeah, it's
I'm
still
just
a
saying.
reaction. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just saying a distracted driver could have just as easily been that.
he was
you
just a racist, Charlie. He didn't want a muty kid, you know.
know? Oh well, yeah, that's
They can't be all Von Struckers.
Yeah. It is what it is. But like I said, it's more annoying to me just because it's just a major departure from what her standard issue origin is, and we've already seen her standard issue origin in the ostensibly related Patrick Stewart storyline.
Yeah, well, Days of Future Past was supposed to change the whole timeline.
It's not that it
Exactly.
changed it. We just
Or
branched
better.
off. We just branched
So we
off.
could- yeah, so we could bring the new.
Well, actually, technically, no. See, that's the thing. Is technically it doesn't, because when Wolverine comes back, all the X-Men, and it's the Patrick Stewart X-Men when he comes back.
Yeah. So we actually have two different timelines, and we're focusing on this young kids instead of the other one.
Jean and Scott met Wolverine in Apocalypse when they were running around that Weapon X base.
Yeah.
Instead of them in the year 2000. In the year 2000.
And, honestly, that they couldn't have gotten a Hugh Jackman cameo in this.
No.
Again,
They
okay,
couldn't use old footage. Nothing.
Let's have nothing for Hugh Jackman, and let's make sure that we take out our most popular character, Quicksilver, as soon as possible.
But are they saving money or something?
Justice for Peter Evans.
And I do get the feeling that they kind of wanted to make this be their,
Last stand, if you will.
well, they wanted this to be their Captain Marvel. They wanted this to be, okay, chick superheroes are big now. Let's do a big story about our big chick superhero. And then somewhere along the line, they screwed it up. Because you notice that it's all very much, very, very Bechtel-y. We have all the big interactions between Mystique and Jean Grey early on about talking about the feelings. Of course, eventually it is, of course, a man who saves her. So,
But Lilith, you said they were making this movie before the deal went through?
Yeah, this movie's been in the process. Like the script and everything had final approval way before this deal. So
that's what I thought, but it smacked of me.
And like I said, any excuse is better than none. You got to have your PR people out there spinning the wheels. Like that's just how it is.
It just smacked me of like, okay, this is the last one. Let's get it over with. But it wasn't. At that point, it wasn't. So
yeah,
I thought they were gonna have. This should have been 2 movies. I mean,
yes,
exactly. It felt very rushed.
So it was actually supposed to be 2 movies, according to an article that I read today. And I really felt like the last 45 minutes of this movie felt like a setup for another storyline.
Was this the Justice League problem? Was it a much longer movie and they like pared it down to just under 2 hours?
I don't get why they cut it into one, but
yeah, they just probably really did want to get it over with.
Okay,
once the deal went through.
I want to see the original cut because I'm sure they had to cut out a bunch of stuff to add the train scene. So I would love to see the original cut, and maybe that would make more sense, that it wouldn't feel so rushed.
Nobody's clamoring for the Kinberg cut. Sorry.
Hey, I sat through this. I would sit through that.
Yeah.
It's still in all, it wasn't as bad as Aquaman.
Oh, I have to disagree with you, my friend.
I don't know. I didn't.
This
look
movie
at
was
anybody
awful.
and say, "Why was I
Aquaman is
seeing this
watchable."
movie?"
I'm not a fan of a lot of movies. But it strikes me as weird that there aren't. I have not seen the Jean Grey Defenders for this film yet.
Y'all know I love my redheads. I got nothing to say.
Sophie Turner was not Jean Grey. She was
No.
not the original
She
Jean
never
Grey.
was for me. And I love Sophie, but
Right,
she's never
I mean,
been Jean Grey for me.
She's Queen of the North. She can't be Jean Grey too.
This was only like what, really the second movie she was.
Yes.
And they never gave her time
Yeah.
to build up that character enough to care
Yeah.
about. By the time they get, you should have cared about the character more before.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, normally just from the fan base, you're going to have people who are just going to blindly say it's not as bad as they're saying. Here's why it's good. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh no, you don't have your Tyler Patricks defending this movie. No.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is normally, if nothing else, just like there's always that one comic book that say, I'm going to say it was awful just so I get the clicks. I would assume there'd be some out there say, actually, it's really good, and here's why you should click on my website. You know,
Well, that's what I said. Even the best reviews I saw were just like kind of like
Not quite soft and not quite hard.
Yeah, very mixed.
like it's mediocre.
Yeah.
It's mediocre.
To quote someone on my Facebook feed, the best thing I could say about it, it was meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there are names you can get the Spider-Man gourmet popcorn, which has a sweet vanilla flavor. It's kind of like Cracker Jack. Oh, I gotta warn you, don't drink it with a sugar soda because it is gonna get too much sugar unless you're spreading out. Get something that's savory to go along with it, and you can get a mix. And we should have thought of that, me and Tristan. We realized later they will mix it for you. So we could have done like the cheese and the Spider-Man, and then we'd get like a savory.
Did Tristan like this movie? Oh wow, because he gives movies a lot of leeway. He's very open-minded.
Okay, not for nothing, Lilith. No Wolverine, no Deadpool, no Venom,
no symbiotes. Yeah, no.
Nothing.
Not enough.
You know, yeah,
strong packet of
very little action. Very little action.
There's a lot of talking.
You should have lied and just be like, "Yeah, those aliens are zombies, son."
Although I did love Storm and the lightning in her hands and that whole scene in the train. I thought Storm was great.
Okay,
that was a good beat.
Yeah, but do you really want to be firing lightning into like a big metal train?
Well, yeah, that's fair.
I have a huge gripe, and it's always my gripe with superhero movies. It was my same gripe with Captain Marvel in the way that they play up superpowers at one point and then they're like completely useless at another point. Storm was like throwing ice cubes at people when she had just frozen a space shuttle solid. Like,
yeah,
it's really just incongruous, powers. And Charles Xavier can like freeze time and take over people's minds, and he was having trouble with like one mid-level mutant.
Yeah,
I have a problem when they do that in superhero movies, when Captain Marvel like destroys, like, or she goes through a planet or something, and then she has trouble taking down a spaceship. Like yeah.
They just need a little coffee and rest. That's all. You can't be full throttle all the time, Martin.
I do have to say, I did have a moment where I was like, okay, Storm is a goddess. She's a literal goddess, and she's having a hard time with this.
She was worshipped as a goddess. She's a mutant.
Storm is that she's not Iceman. And they first they have her.
Carly, is that what you're saying? She's not a man?
No, it's that her powers are not her power is specifically weather related. She doesn't create ice, she creates snow.
Which brings up a good point. Then how did she freeze the
hail
solid? Was there an atmosphere up there?
No, that's my point. Is she shouldn't have been able to. Really, what she should have been able to, because this is in the comic books, she could have just diverted the space storm. It's a cosmic ray storm. I'm Storm. I can divert cosmic weather. I can move solar wind. They've done that in the comics. It's just stupid enough to work. But no, freeze the space shuttle. That's not how I wanted to say that's not how my powers work. Because it's already freaking 4 degrees Kelvin out there.
X-Men are now Pokemon and they're evolving. Deal with it.
Anyway. And here's my biggest disappointment. At no point when Nightcrawler is fighting people, did he make someone, especially when he goes full on killer mode, he doesn't make anyone materialize halfway through a wall.
Okay, can we talk Nightcrawler for a moment?
Oh yeah.
Because first of all, he was way too blue. And the tail killed me. Every time I saw that piece of effect, it totally took me out of the moment. I thought it was terrible costuming.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just drove me nuts every time. And Sophie Turner's eyebrows.
Oh yeah, there was one point when there was a close up on her face, and they just looked like crazy clown eyebrows.
That's like the memes buddy of mine put up on Facebook, I think today or yesterday. He was like, how you insult a woman in 2019. And it's like, F you and your eyebrows.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Also, I
Yeah.
have to say there was a moment early on where they focused on Mystique, and her blue was not consistent through her neck, and that really took me out of the moment too.
That's what happens when you wear a bodysuit and prosthetics instead of just prosthetics. I'm just saying.
All I had to do was her head in her neck this time, because she wasn't naked this time. She was wearing that full suit.
Yeah.
That was probably in her contract as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, it's always been in her contract. She doesn't do the full prosthetics ever.
She's no Rebecca Romaine.
Didn't she have a bad reaction to some of the blue makeup or something?
Sure, she did. She just didn't want to work out. It's fine. No judgment. I get it. No judgments. It's cool, but I'm just saying,
Judgment-free zone.
I just felt like with all of the money that they spent on effects and spent on makeup, there should be a little more attention to some of the makeup. It felt like it fell flat in some places.
Yeah,
that's what I said. This whole movie, I just got the vibe of
So we got a little glimpse of Celine, and I'm just like, okay. That was a waste.
I don't even remember that, to be honest with you, Lilith.
What's the girl's name?
What?
Coda Eberhard or whatever. That's who she
Wait,
was
I'm sorry,
supposed
who?
to be. Celine.
Oh, Celine? I don't know. who that
Yeah.
is.
And someone tell me about Dazzler, because I don't remember Dazzler, and there was all this stuff about
It was
her.
supposed to be Taylor Swift.
What?
Taylor Swift in the last movie in Apocalypse, she was supposed to be Dazzler, but it fell apart. And I was just like, oh. And I'm not even like, cool. I got bad blood with Taylor Swift, but I thought that would be perfect casting, actually.
Could have saved your movie with Tay-Tay.
I'm saying. Talk about your cool after credit scene. I'm just saying.
So was that?
Well, it would have been nice to actually have them do something with Dazzler.
Yeah.
I was excited when I saw Dazzler. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Dazzler. And even Tris was like, who's that? And I'm like, that's Dazzler, son.
What's disco, Dad?
Something that's dead.
My kids know what disco is. I've raised them right. And also, disco's cool again.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah. Disco's just hip hop with less of a backbeat.
Isn't that girl the one that's from the Orville? Or Halston Stage? She's from the Orville?
I saw her. Was she Dazzler?
Yeah, that's who Dazzler
I
was.
saw her name in the credits. I was like, wait a minute, where was she at? Okay.
Yeah.
Who did she play in Orville?
Exactly.
Lieutenant some whoever.
That first
I think
security
the one that
officer,
left, right?
Yeah.
The old security officer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, she was.
Alara. She was Alara Katan. Yeah.
Well, very awesome.
No.
Fox, get it? Haha.
Oh,
Well, who knows? Maybe since she had such a small part, they'll let her come back for that role. Because
No, we're getting Taylor Swift as Dazzler. I need this now. I never knew I needed it.
Not for nothing. If she walked away from it once, I don't think she's going to come back. Just
With
because
Disney money, hell yeah, she will. Are you crazy?
yeah, well, But you know what? Not for nothing. I don't think Disney wants to pay Taylor Swift money, or as we'll call it, Robert Downey Jr. money for a first film. It's like if they're going to do a Dazzler film,
They
they're gonna
better. They better get some talent for their first film.
Get stuck with
After this, they don't want this on their hands again. Disney's got to come correct straight up.
Even if it's just like
okay,
a cameo,
first
they
off-
don't have to pay her that much because she's not an actor. They'd still have to pay her scale.
I don't want to watch Dazzler in a cameo. I want to watch Dazzler the movie.
Nobody wants a damn Dazzler movie except for you, Charlie.
Comic Book Girl 16 wants a Dazzler movie too. So I know at least me and one other person on YouTube do want.
Well, y'all better get y'all Kickstarter money up.
Ben, back in the 90s, I was trying to procure the rights with no money because I was stupid and a teenager. But I wanted to produce Dazzler the movie based on the graphic novel Dazzler the movie. Such a good graphic novel.
I'm trying to buy the rights to Dazzler with that Gulag Escape from Starlog 69 money. Hello.
Yeah, well, hey, as soon as I get some of that, I'm gonna put it on top of that.
Showing now on Tubi.
Yeah. Hey, don't knock Tubi. They have All Superheroes Must Die.
Yeah, no, I like Tubi. Shout out to Charlie for introducing me to Tubi.
It's got
I
great
use it more than
story.
Hulu. It's true.
Yeah, honestly, man, I can't think of the last time I really watched anything on Hulu. I gotta be honest with you.
Well, The Handmaid's Tale is back out, so
It
you know.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
Hulu's up
honestly,
now.
it's got a lot of stuff that's very popular, like Handmaid's
And
Tale.
Future Man, you know, is coming soon.
Oh, Future,
that
yeah,
next
I'm waiting for
season.
Future Man to come back, but it's like until Future Man comes back, I'm kind of like, 'cause I don't even watch Runaways, you know.
Well, yeah. It's
know.
best binged at one big sit fest. I said sit, Philip.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I never get the chance to really sit and binge. Like the closest I get to sit and binge is I put the show on and then I fall asleep and I wake up like two more episodes later and I watch for another episode, then fall back asleep.
Diane, how far are you into Game of Thrones?
So this is totally off topic, but I'm into season 3 of Game of Thrones in the last 2 weeks. I finally gave in and started watching
They're
it.
only like 10 episodes,
But-
and then they shoot down to 6. You're fine. You'll
But-
make it.
I binged When They See Us in one night the other night.
Yes.
Which one? What season?
It's When They See Us is just one series.
It's Central Park 5
Oh,
on
yeah.
Netflix. Yeah.
I thought that was a documentary. I didn't realize that's
There
like
is a documentary from 2013,
There
but
is.
no, this is like the
Unburned.
dramatization.
Yeah.
Yep.
I watched the documentary last night. It was quite good too.
Yeah. The dramatization, like you learn stuff that wasn't even in the documentary. So yeah.
Well, that's normally how dramatizations go. Is there's
No, usually there's a lot of fluff in dramatization. This was not fluff at all.
So it's actual documentation.
So the 5 men who were exonerated contributed to the dramatization. So there's a lot of true
Their stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I wish somebody would have called Chris Claremont for some script advisory on this.
That's
you
what
mean
we
Dark
need. We need Ava DuVernay doing the X-Men.
Well,
Then
sorry,
maybe
we
something
gotta
might
wait for her to
happen.
get through New Gods, and then after that crashes and burns, maybe Marvel will take pity on her too.
Maybe if New Gods does good, because you know, like we were saying last week, what they put Tom King on there to help co-write it. You know, maybe these companies will get the point. Hey, why don't we ask some of these comic book writers to help us with our comic book movies?
Not just like a superfluous title
Yeah.
or a producer. Like, actually, yeah, throw in a script.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Anyway, but yeah, Dark Phoenix. I like
Solid
that
D
it ends.
plus. D is in dog for me.
Yeah.
D plus. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to be that harsh. It did have one solid shout out to Weingarten. And
I'm
they
gonna
have
give it
the-
3 out of 5 impaled phoenixes or impaled mystiques.
I will say this. This is also the best part. This was the best part for me as a guy with my son watching this movie. When Cyclops starts to pixelate, me and Tristan both at the same time said, he doesn't feel too good.
Well, everybody said that.
Well, but it was an important bonding moment for me and my son. So that
cute,
made it for me. So for that, they get a solid C.
You next too.
I'm gonna give it a solid C.
Philip, that's my line.
I'm giving them a gentleman C. It's they almost made C minus, but you know what? Those two things that me and my son could share this moment to make a wisecrack at the film together, and that they did give a Weingarten cameo, that made it for me. So they're gonna graduate.
All right. So Diane, did you give it a grade?
Yeah, so I gave it a 3 out of 5 impaled mystiques.
All right, Marnell, put down your drink. What did you give it?
I gave it also a C. I was entertained and I full disclosure, I have actually not seen the last 2 X-Men movies.
And it
The last X-Men movie I saw was Days of Future Past. So yeah, maybe if I watched the other 2. No.
That was a
Don't.
good decision.
Yeah, I
Oh,
tried
okay.
to rewatch Apocalypse today, and I was like, what was I thinking?
Between it.
Oh, well, I did see Logan. I saw Logan in theaters.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it kind of stood alone because it was probably better that I hadn't seen the other ones, because I was like, okay, Days of Future Past happened and it completely changed the timeline for everything, and none of that other stuff ever happened. So I'm good. Like,
Yeah, you made the right choice.
Okay. So I gave it a solid C. For as much as I gripe about the incongruity of everyone's powers, I do like to see mutants battle each other because they are so mismatched in their powers. I mean, you've got somebody who can, like speed through everything against somebody who can control the weather, against somebody who has like, I don't know, sentient dreadlocks.
No. Hey, I got to talk about that. The hair animation on this was fantastic. If they had that hair animation
In humans,
in humans, it might have been watchable. Might have been.
What character was that? Was that a regular character? Like, is that in the comic books? Is that like
No.
Mandusa or something?
Mandusa.
He is now.
Wait, quick, copyright it.
Well, the other problem. I was like, why don't they give like Magneto characters who like have actually showed up in the comic books before?
Well, at first I thought
That wasn't Genosha. That was a sad sack of an excuse.
Gilligan's Island, not Genosha.
Yes. Not a Marion or Ginger in sight. Just saying.
Yeah, but at first I thought that was supposed to be Bishop. I said, cool, I might actually get to find out what Bishop's powers are.
No.
I still don't know what Bishop's powers are because I only know him from the cartoon, where basically his power is I have a big gun and I'm a mutant.
He like absorbs energy and he can shoot it back out.
Okay, well, they never did that in the cartoon. So
he does it with energy like what you do with beer, okay?
Charlie doesn't waste it. He knows what's up.
Well, it does come back out.
Buy beer, Lil, if you rent it.
Well, you gotta drink liquor. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that goes even faster, Lilith. You must have a bladder of steel if you can drink liquor and your body's like, oh my gosh, someone's trying to poison us. Quick, hydrate. Get this stuff out of us.
I'm too drunk for this.
I'm too sober for this.
Well, that was your first mistake.
I lost my nipple for nothing.
R.I.P. Gary's nipple. He will be missed.
And you continue on the rest of the day.
Oh, I'm just glad that, hopefully the mutants are in more loving hands now. It's the only good thing about this.
Yeah.
The biggest problems are that the good mutant films have been so very good that they are hard to follow.
What, like
the first one in Logan?
Yeah, really. I mean, and
Deadpool.
I thought the second
Deadpool.
Yeah, that's its own little pocket too now. But
I mean, the X-Men did show up in the second one, kind of.
Yeah.
Now he should be closing the door on them.
And here's the thing, because they're not going to be able to do another. Here's the problem for Marvel. It's like, okay, first off, we already have an established timeline. Do we say that X-Men were just in hiding? It's like the same Fantastic Four problem. We have these characters. Are we just going to introduce them now? And how do we describe them? How do we work with them? And how do we introduce them as a superhero team?
Then I'll snap them back from another multiverse, from another part of the multiverse.
But that's a choice. That either mutants are new or mutants have always been around. That's the complexity.
So
for example,
they're gonna come from the Jean Grey Memorial School or whatever instead of the Charles Xavier School. Instead of X-Men's first class, you're gonna have X-Men business class or whatever.
Yeah, I will say this.
More like economy, am I right?
And they rename it the Jean Grey School for Gifted Youngsters.
I mean, they kind of did.
Well, they did that in the comics.
Minutes, yeah.
Well, yeah, after Charles Xavier dies.
But they still keep
ego.
the name X-Men.
Right.
So
they should have been the G-Men.
The J-Men. The J-People.
Don't they even call the gene the X gene that makes mutants? We're just stuck on X.
Yeah, well, that's because Charles Xavier named the X.
It's kind of derivative, we know.
Yeah.
You find out that there's in canon. He writes that Charles Xavier, that was his graduate thesis about the X gene.
Yes.
Causes mutation.
Right. He's a douchebag. There's no doubt about it. And I'm glad that they really leaned into that in this one.
Yes. He's like a lot of scientists. He is very convinced of his own rightness.
Well,
I have to say something that struck me this time that never struck me when I was reading the comic books. It felt a little rapey having him be in Jean's head.
Yes. Yes.
Although prior to that, they also had Jean being in people's heads too.
True.
So you do
It's
have
all
this
a
idea.
violation.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, it is. Psychokinesis is a supervillain's power.
Well, and X-Men. What was the one with the first one with Michael Fassbender?
First Class.
First Class?
Was it First Class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chick who took over the Russian guy's mind to make him think he was having sex with her. Like, they all do it. It's not just dude mutants who like get into people's heads and mess with them. So they're an equal opportunity rapist.
For what it's worth, and this I think is very telling, is that aside from Professor Xavier, all psychokinetic mutants tend to be villains. It's like a very short list of psychokinetic mutants who aren't villains or don't turn villainous at some point.
Who said Xavier's not a villain?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Ask Jean Grey.
At best, an anti-hero. He does some sketchy stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, like that, but that's why, because that is a power. The people who go into your mind tend to be people who are morally ambiguous to start with. Just saying.
Or they wind up that way, apparently.
Oh yeah, they say they go crazy because they can hear everyone's thoughts.
Legion, is that you?
Back at the end of this month for its last.
Yeah.
That's trippy.
So I wonder what they're gonna do with that over at Marvel.
But no, Charlie, I heard a theory. I'm surprised you hadn't talked about this. They were saying how they're bringing the mutants into the MCU. Remember what Hulk was saying in Endgame? What the gauntlet and all this, all the gems were like mostly gamma.
Mm-hmm.
You 3 big universe-wide snaps. You're bombarding the universe with extra gamma radiation.
Well, specifically Earth, because all the snaps.
Well, yeah, it's Earth's ground zero. Yeah.
Yeah. Although the only problem with that is if you are creating mutants by that, you're not going to see a mutant for 20 years.
Yeah.
But it's comics. It's okay if it happens in a week. You got your bang babies. Oh snap! They got bang babies now.
Yeah, well, they already have bang babies. They're called the Inhumans.
Well, if you say the first snap,
Well, we're ignoring that though, right?
Well, the
No,
first snap,
they're still
we're
there.
5 years past that first snap.
Okay, so you'll have some time. You'll have some.
And then if they
you'll have a couple of tween mutants.
Yeah, didn't Lil say don't we have to wait like another 2 years or so?
2 to 3 years, yeah. So we can have another time jump.
I mean, that's at least 7 years from the first snap.
So now, are we saying that all MCU films now take place in 2023 and
I guess
beyond?
Okay, except for when they do a jump back. Yeah.
Wait, I mean, I guess we'll find out at Homecoming for sure.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
4th of July weekend.
That'll be a better talk.
Catch it on the Ultimate Spider Cast.
Yeah. It'll be somewhere. But
I love Ben Reilly. I beat you to it. No need to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, you love it.
I'm just wait. You know what? I have a great fan theory for that.
What?
My fan theory, based on my idea that we're going to have a robotic symbiote, is that Flash Thompson will fail to be saved by Spider-Man, will lose his legs, will be filled with anger, and the sentient stealth suit powered by Robert Downey Jr. AI is going to merge with him to become the MCU's Venom.
I love Ben Reilly.
Mark my words.
Oh God.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, get out of here.
Say we don't want to drop any comic book talk in here this week because
No, let's not take good comic books with this.
I was going to say on a normal week we usually go to comic books with
Bill's Comics Corner.
every week.
Comics, read them. They're often better.
Yes,
but not
read the
always.
source material.
Yeah.
Spend your money on that. It's your money spent much better in that way.
Especially for the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And the Archies are way better in the comics.
I mean, Riverdale's for the kids. You got to give the kids something. It's okay. I've got my classic Archie, my new reboot Archie. I'm good. I'm flexible. I'm not one of those old farts that can't handle change.
I like the new Sabrina.
Unpopular opinion out of my mouth.
Yes, the new Sabrina is good.
Yes.
And Netflix, get your hands on those Red Circle heroes. That is your next money pot. Actually,
You should probably tweet Robert, what's his last name? The guy that is the showrunner for both Riverdale and Chilling Adventures. I'm sure they really want to build that universe out.
Yes. That would be a good idea. Oh man, Sabrina.
Since the Arrowverse is almost dead.
Ooh, Sabrina versus the Shield. I want to see that. Or Sabrina versus the Wizard. I have no idea what the Wizard's power is, but one of the
Well, you know what? They might, because they did do a Red Hood and a Black Hood storyline, kind of, sort of, as a hint to it. So.
Wow.
All right, Phil, do your damn shameless plugs. Don't you boss me.
All right.
I'm about to go catch some Pokemon.
All right. Send us your thoughts on these movies. Are you glad it's over? I'm sure you are. Anything, comics, TV, movies, capes and lunatics at gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/capes and lunatics, at capes lunatics on Twitter, capes and lunatics on Instagram. The voicemail 614-382-2737 at 614-38-capes, and check out Work in Progress, capesandlunatics.org.
All right, Philip, just wait till August.
Bring it.
I have to drive to the moon.
All right. Our guest, I don't know who's going to do it. Diane Marnell. Where can people find you and Biters? And
the best place to find us is on Facebook.
Definitely. Facebook.com/Biters Podcast. Right now we are podcasting Fear the Walking Dead, and we are about to get into Good Omens. So we're going to branch off into that.
Love that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although loved the book more.
Yes. That is the correct answer. David Tennant. Yeah.
Wait, what? What's your beef with David Tennant? I need to know.
No, I love him. I mean,
Okay.
but don't skip 9.
Okay.
Fight me, nerd.
I was like, do not diss the Doctor.
9 is my favorite, but 10 is a close second.
Yeah.
Andy was Purple Man.
Yes. He was excellent in Jessica Jones.
Yes, he was.
Definitely.
all right, Lilith Hellfire, where can people find you, especially your nifty?
Hey, shut up! Don't step all over it.
Your nifty new Instagram.
All right, if you nerds want to hang out with me on Twitter, you can find me at Lilith Hellfire. And just for my capes peeps, if you're on Instagram, I finally have Lilith Hellfire 69. So follow me. Fun memes will be coming soon. Fight me, nerd. Duh.
All right, Charlie Esser, let it rip.
Well, if you would like to follow me on the gram, I am at Super Connectivity or something. Because I was recently informed that like 4 people are following me. I'm like, okay, I haven't been on there in a while, but great that you're following me. Meanwhile, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, not the gram the kids are doing, but the old-fashioned email way, you can do so by writing me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters and live with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cloak and Dagger, both of which we're not on recently, but still, at Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing.
I have Moz in there somewhere.
He's gonna want his nickel.
Just got the wristlet out of Rob Southgate's cold dead hand. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you didn't have to see the movie yourself. For another week, we have been the Capes.
Ampersand.
The Lunatics.
Lunatics.
Marnell.
And friends.
And friends.
I think Phil is drunker than all of us. He just, puts it in a container and doesn't tell us what it is.
I just think is he drunk?
It's a Long Island iced tea. I see you.
It's a Long Island.
I think it's just straight CBD oil. Just full
Yikes.
pint of CBD oil.
Oh, Charlie, did you hear last season of The Good Place?
Yeah, I saw. But they're being very cool about it. They're saying, no, look, we're ending it with
On a
strength.
high